Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Pat's Mythos. My name is Pat. It's been way too long since I've been on here to make a new video. It's been about a month, I think, since my last wrap-up video that I posted anything. Unfortunately, the month of June was a little too busy for me to be making a lot of videos here on BookTube. However, it was still a good month. I got some reading done, and I had an incredible trip, which I'd like to tell you about. If you saw any of my community posts or anything I mentioned in various Discords I'm a part of, I did take a trip to the Republic of Ireland over the month of June. I was very lucky to see some beautiful sights, meet some beautiful people, including a couple of fellow booktubers, including StoryTube, which is Carlos and Yolanda, and RJ from RJ Reads. We had a night out in Dublin, and it was just an awesome time. We really had a good time, hitting some pubs. Carlos is a local who grew up in Dublin. He knew all the great spots. It's really an incredible time to connect with some fellow booktubers and just enjoy ourselves in a new place for me and my wife and RJ. We're not from Dublin, obviously. I think RJ's from the north part of Ireland. So for him, he made the trip down. We all came together and had an incredible time. I'm going to be tagging StoryTube and RJ Reads channels down in the description. Please check out their channels. They make great book content, and it was really great to get to meet them in June. And now getting into my June wrap up, it was a bit of a busy month with the vacation and then a few other things in real life. So wasn't a ton of reading that I got done this month. I only finished 2 books. I did start 2 others that bled into July, which I'll get into a little bit. But yeah, total finished books in June, a little bit of a lighter month, and that is only 2, and I'd like to tell you about what I read. So the first book that I finished in the month of June was The Children of Gods and Fighting Men by Shauna Lawless. This was an audio listen, and I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. So if you're not familiar with this book, it is a historical fiction and a bit of a mythological fantasy blend told in 9th century Ireland. And so it blends these real historical figures with some of the Irish lore and myths. And they kind of come together to make this really interesting story that's a blend of real life battles and kings and intrigue. It's a huge part of the story, while you have these conniving mythological groups that are kind of watching from the sidelines and watching over the affairs of the mortals and meddling where they can. And it ended up being a really interesting story. I enjoyed getting to experience a little bit of Irish history, culture, mythology before traveling there later in June. It really got me excited for my trip, and I felt immersed in just kind of being there and thinking back on this amazing history that I listened to in this book and knowing it happened here. It was a really cool connection, and I'm very glad I listened to it for that reason. And so this is the first book in a trilogy by Shauna Lawless called Gale Song, and I believe book 2 is coming out later this year. I will definitely be very excited to check it out. I will probably be doing that on audio. The narrator, I believe it's Aoife McMahon. I may have that wrong. I'll double check. She was a great narrator. She balanced the Irish accents and voices of the characters so well, made them all unique, and did an awesome job mixing up the 2 POV characters in the story. The first POV character that you may have heard of, if you've heard anything about this book, is named Gormla, and she is an incredible character, one that has the potential to just go down as one of those truly special characters that you hear about in the fantasy genre. And so, yes, very excited to see where the story goes. I'm hooked on this Irish mythological historical fiction blend that Shauna Lawless has going here, and I'm really looking forward to seeing where it goes. And the other book that I finished in the month of June was Dragon Keeper by Robin Hobb, which is the first book in the Rainwild Chronicles, which is the 4th subseries in the Realm of the Elderlings. Anybody who's read the Realm of the Elderlings has probably been described that the Rainwild Chronicles are kind of like the slog of this long 15-book series, and it is different, I will say that. Maybe I just checked my expectations well enough, but I actually really enjoyed this. I'm going to give it 4.5 out of 5 stars. It's very different. It's not the same level of, I guess, I want to say the characters just are not on that level as you're used to with Robin Hobb, but nonetheless, it's an enjoyable fantasy read. I love dragons, and this book's all about the dragons. I love the world of the Realm of the Elderlings. Whether it's the Bingtown setting that you get a lot of in Liveship Traders, that's here. And then you get a ton more of the Rainwilds, which are introduced in Liveship Traders as well. And overall, I really did enjoy it. I guess maybe I was expecting it to be a lot worse, so my rating feels higher, but I never really felt bored, and I read through it fairly quickly at my own pace. And yeah, I'm glad that it wasn't as bad as everyone makes it out to be. and I'm hoping to continue the series soon, which I'll talk a little bit more about now going into my July TBR. So, as I mentioned, for my July TBR, I actually have two books that I started in June, and due to just the busyness and the travel, I really did not get to read or listen to anything during the whole 9 days I was traveling outside of the United States in Ireland. I really just didn't get a chance to. So these books bled into July, and the first one was a Kindle read, and that was Dark Sea's End by Richard Nell. So this is a really short book. It's about 250 pages, maybe. I don't know why it really felt longer to me, and that's not to say I didn't enjoy it. I love Richard Nell. I love Ash and Sand, which this is actually a sequel book to the original Ash and Sand trilogy and the start of a new sequel series called Beyond Ash and Sand. And despite this being, a short book under 300 pages, something about it felt longer. Not in a bad way. I just felt like I couldn't really get myself to sit down and read the book for more than 10 pages at a time. And combine that with the vacation I was on, it just took me forever to get through this book. I still gave it 4 stars. It had a lot of the things I really loved about the original Ash and Sand trilogy. Some characters reappeared, some places, and some new things coming about in this new sequel series that I really enjoyed. Wasn't on that level of epic insanity that makes Ash and Sand one of my most favorite series, but I still really enjoyed it, and it was a great return to the world. I'm excited to see where the series could go because I know Richard Nell knows how to write a complex, fleshed out series. So, yeah, 4 stars here for this read. Very quick, supposed to be quick, at least by page count, but wasn't so quick for me. Check out Ash and Sand. I don't know how many times I have to tell people, if you love epic fantasy, if you love grimdark, there's no reason why you shouldn't give Ash and Sand a try. I think it's one of the greatest series to come out in the last 5 years, and it could really, really knock your socks off, for lack of a better term. That's what it did for me. Definitely check out Ash and Sand. I'll take every chance I can get to recommend it. Please check it out. And the other book that I started in June that has worked its way into July is Different Seasons by Stephen King. This is a novella collection of 4 novellas, and it's actually been one of my most highly anticipated King reads. I've been kind of saving it for a rainy day for quite a while now. I just knew I'd love it, and I won't go too much into it. I'll talk more in detail about it next month in my July wrap up, since I'm not quite done with it. But I will say it is incredible. I am in the 3rd of the 4th novellas. I've loved them all. I foresee this being probably one of my top reads of the year. Won't go any farther than that. I'll talk a little bit more about it next month. But yes, loving Different Seasons. And now getting into my legitimate actual July TBR, books that I'm starting or have started here in the month of July. The first is House of Chains by Steven Erikson, which is book 4 in Malazan Book of the Fallen. So I'm reading this on Kindle. I started it a couple days ago. It's been a little bit of a slow start for me, but I have started chapter 2, which might not sound like a lot, but the chapters are really long to start this. So chapter 1 took me a couple days. In chapter 2, I'm enjoying it. So different from Memories of Ice so far, but yeah, still like it, and I'm excited to see where it's going to go. If you're not aware, I am reading this book as a part of a larger read-along that's going on the Grimoire Discord. I'm in this read-along with Alex from Tall Guy Reads and Jordan from Jordan Reads. I just joined in on the 3rd book, which is Memories of Ice. It was my first time being a part of the read-along and the live chats, and I really enjoyed it. It was an incredible time. We had Jimmy from the Fantasy Network there on the chat with us, and it was my very first booktube discussion, and I like to believe it went very well. I had an awesome time, and I'm so excited to be part of this read-along. I think the way it's going to work is because we're doing about 2 months per book in the series to give everyone in the read-along ample time to get through each book. I think you can expect to see each live chat happen about every other month along with the read-along schedule. So I would anticipate the House of Chains chat to take place next month, which would now be August, if I had to guess. I'll be sure to announce an official date once that comes out. But before any of that, the 3 of us need to finish House of Chains. So I anticipate House of Chains will probably take up most of my month in terms of actual reading. I might try to squeeze in the start of Dragon Haven by Robin Hobb there at the end. I'll be picking that up on Kindle. I don't think I'll get too far into it before the end of the month. That'll probably end up being a book on my August TBR. But I'd like to just mention that's my only other plan for actually reading. But I would like to tell you a little bit about my audio plans for the month of July. So I was in a funny situation this month where I had no clue what I wanted to listen to next. With me, it can be tough sometimes differentiating between what I want to read either physically or on Kindle and what I want to listen to on audio. Typically, if I own a book, whether on my shelf or on Kindle, I try to avoid picking it up on Audible too, just so I don't have to double buy it, unless I want to do immersive reading or something. So there's a lot of things I own in that format, which leaves them as not a great option for audio. However, there is a series I've been interested in lately that I've decided to start, and that is the Silo Saga by Hugh Howey, starting with book one, which is Wool. So this book series recently got adapted as an Apple TV show, and I've heard great things about it, and I know it inspired some people on Jimmy Nuts's Discord to check out the series, and so far there's been glowing reviews. It is a post-apocalyptic story telling basically, I guess, individual stories within this enclosed silo commune that is basically after the world has ended. All these people are stuck underground. That's really all I know, but I'm a huge sucker for anything post-apocalypse. That's one of my favorite genres. So as soon as I heard that, that kind of snuck this up my TBR out of nowhere. I really wasn't planning on reading it anytime soon, but after hearing about it and I needed something to fill that audio slot, I decided that I would be starting with Wool, first book in the Silo Saga here in the month of July. Be doing it on audio, and if I have time, I also plan to probably start Shift. I might try to either go through all three books back to back to back, or I may split them off and do one per month. We'll see, but for sure, going to be checking out Wool on audio as soon as I finish different seasons. That's pretty much all I got for this wrap up slash TBR video here for June, July of 2023. I really enjoy making these videos. Apologies that it's been a big gap since between this video and my last. I'm hoping to make the month of July a good month for posting videos. Excited to try to get a few more videos out this month than normal to try to catch up and get into a little bit more of a routine with putting out videos and hopefully just have a less busy month overall. If you've stayed here to the end of the video, I just want to say thank you very much for taking the time to watch. It means a lot to me. That's all I have for today, everybody. Have a good one. Bye-bye.